Ravenwood Manor, a name whispered in hushed tones. It stood on a windswept moor, a forbidding silhouette against the stormy sky. The house was a testament to forgotten grandeur, its stone walls crumbling, its windows like vacant eyes. For generations, the manor had been home to the Blackwood family. Isabella Blackwood inherited the manor after her parents' untimely demise. She had only fragmented childhood memories of Ravenwood. She was drawn to the manor, yet felt an undercurrent of unease.
The moment I stepped across the threshold, a cold gust of wind slammed the door shut. The air inside was heavy with the scent of damp stone and decay. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, I felt a strange sense of belonging.
As Isabella explored the darkened rooms, she stumbled upon Mrs. Waverley, the elderly housekeeper. Mrs. Waverley, with her kind eyes and a wealth of unspoken knowledge, had served the Blackwood family for decades. Mrs. Waverley held the key to understanding Ravenwood's past. Mrs. Waverley, her voice a low murmur, recounted tales of the Blackwood family. Their history was a tapestry woven with brilliance and madness, love and betrayal. It was as if the very walls whispered their secrets.
Edward Ravenwood, the patriarch, was a man of immense wealth and insatiable curiosity. He was an alchemist, obsessed with unlocking the secrets of life and death.
The story sent shivers down Isabella's spine. She spent countless hours in the manor's dusty library, poring over old journals and faded documents.
One night, while sifting through a pile of parchment, I discovered a hidden compartment. Inside lay a small, silver locket, its surface cold to the touch. The locket contained a miniature portrait of Lady Evelyn, her eyes wide with a haunting plea.
That night, Isabella was plagued by vivid dreams. She saw Lady Evelyn, her face pale and ethereal, her voice a mournful whisper.
There was a terrible wrong, a secret that bound me to the manor. Please, help me.
Upon waking, Isabella couldn't shake off the chilling encounter. The dream felt incredibly real. The desperation in Lady Evelyn's eyes burned into her memory. Driven by an unknown force, Isabella confided in Mrs. Waverley about the dream and the locket.
Lady Evelyn's restless spirit is real, a tale whispered only in hushed tones within these walls. There's an old family legend. Lady Evelyn's spirit won't find peace until her husband's alchemical experiments are destroyed, his hubris atoned for.
It was a daunting task, fraught with unknown dangers, but Isabella felt a growing responsibility to help Lady Evelyn find peace. Fueled by the unsettling dream and guided by Mrs. Waverley, Isabella began searching for Edward Ravenwood's secret laboratory. They discovered a hidden passage behind a bookshelf in the library, a narrow, cobweb-choked corridor leading deep into the heart of the manor. The air grew colder as they descended, the silence broken only by the sound of their own breathing.
The passage opened into a vast subterranean chamber, lit by flickering torches. The air was thick with the pungent smell of sulphur and strange herbs. This must be Edward Ravenwood's alchemical laboratory.
It was a scene of controlled chaos. Alembics and crucibles stood on dusty tables alongside shelves stacked high with jars containing bizarre ingredients. Strange symbols adorned the walls, a testament to Edward's insatiable desire to unravel the mysteries of life and death.
Amongst the paraphernalia, I discovered Edward's journals. They were filled with his frantic scribblings, observations, experiments, and delusional ramblings.
The extent of Edward Ravenwood's obsession was laid bare before Isabella, revealing the dark and twisted path he had walked in his quest for immortality. Section 5, The Alchemist's Legacy. Edward's journals revealed his darkest secret. He had used his wife, Lady Evelyn, as a subject in his dangerous experiments. He believed he could cheat death and bring her back to life. But his experiments only led to tragedy, trapping her spirit within the manor's walls.
I was horrified. Edward's hubris knew no bounds. He had condemned the woman he supposedly loved to an eternity of unrest.
She felt a surge of anger and a deepening resolve to right the wrongs of the past. The journals also contained clues to breaking the curse that held Lady Evelyn captive. Edward had devised a ritual, a complex alchemy of elements and incantations, to sever the ties that bound her spirit to the mortal realm.
I knew what I had to do. I gathered the necessary ingredients from the laboratory, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. The ritual was fraught with danger, but I was determined to see it through.
The silence of the manor seemed to press in on her, the weight of the past heavy on her shoulders. Section 6. Restless Spirits. As Isabella prepared for the ritual, the manor seemed to awaken. Cold spots intensified, and whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls. She felt a presence watching her, guiding her.
And then, the ghostly figure of a young boy materialized before me. He was translucent, his clothes from a bygone era. He stared at me with wide, fearful eyes.
This was Edward Ravenwood's son, also named Edward, who had died tragically in a riding accident. He, too, was trapped within the manor, unable to find peace.
I need your help, just as my mother does.
Isabella felt a surge of compassion for the young spirit. She realized that Edward Ravenwood's actions had far-reaching consequences, trapping not only his wife but his son as well. The weight of responsibility grew heavier on her shoulders. Section 7. The Ritual of Release. With Mrs. Waverley's steady presence by her side, Isabella began the ritual. She meticulously followed the instructions in Edward's journal, her hands trembling as she handled the volatile ingredients. The air crackled with energy, and the shadows in the room seemed to dance and writhe. As she chanted the ancient words, a blinding light filled the chamber. The room temperature plummeted and the air grew heavy.
The ghostly figures of Lady Evelyn and young Edward appeared before her, their forms solidifying with each passing moment.
Lady Evelyn's face was etched with years of sorrow, but as she looked at Isabella, a flicker of hope sparked in her eyes. Young Edward, no longer the scared boy, smiled gently at Isabella, his youthful features serene. The energy in the room reached a crescendo.
With a final, resounding word, Isabella completed the ritual.
The light subsided, leaving behind a sense of peace that settled over the manor like a gentle blanket.
My son, I can finally hold you again. Section 8. A mother's love. Lady Evelyn turned to her son, her ethereal hand reaching out to cup his face. Tears streamed down her face, tears that shimmered like moonlight.
Thank you. Young Edward leaned into his mother's touch, his spectral form finally finding the peace that had been denied to him in life. He looked at Isabella, his eyes shining with gratitude.
With a final, heart-wrenching embrace, their forms began to fade, their laughter echoing faintly in the silence that descended upon the chamber. The spirits of Lady Evelyn and young Edward were finally free from their earthly bonds. The manor, once a prison of stone and shadow, sighed as if releasing a burden it had carried for centuries. The air felt lighter, the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Isabella stood in the silence, tears streaming down her face, a bittersweet ache in her heart. Section 9. A New Dawn at Ravenwood. In the aftermath of the ritual, Isabella oversaw the transformation of Ravenwood Manor. Gone were the cobwebs and the oppressive gloom. Sunlight streamed through newly cleaned windows, bathing the once shadowed halls in warmth.
She had the secret passages sealed, the alchemical laboratory dismantled. Edward Ravenwood's legacy of obsession and darkness was erased, replaced by a sense of hope and renewal.
The manor, once a place of sorrow, was slowly regaining its former glory. The gardens, once overgrown and neglected, bloomed anew with vibrant flowers. Laughter echoed through the halls once more as the staff, their faces reflecting the newfound lightness of the manor, went about their duties. Ravenwood Manor was no longer a place to be feared, but a place to heal and thrive.
Isabella, no longer the apprehensive heiress, walked through the halls with a newfound confidence. She had faced the darkness of the past and emerged stronger, more determined.
Ravenwood Manor, once a symbol of her family's troubled legacy, was now a testament to her own resilience and strength. Section 10. The Manor's Embrace. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the moor, Isabella stood on the steps of Ravenwood Manor. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves in the nearby trees, their whispers no longer filled with sorrow but with a soothing melody.
She looked at the manor, its silhouette no longer menacing but welcoming. The home that had once filled her with trepidation now embraced her with a sense of belonging she had never known.
She was no longer merely Isabella Blackwood, the inheritor of a troubled legacy. She was Isabella Blackwood, mistress of Ravenwood Manor, a woman reborn. She had found peace within the manor's walls, not just for the restless spirits who had haunted its halls, but for herself as well. She had confronted the shadows of the past and emerged stronger, ready to face whatever the future held.
As she turned and stepped inside, the heavy oak door closed behind her with a reassuring thud, a symbol of her newfound sanctuary.
Ravenwood Manor, once a place of shadows, was now her home.